All right, everyone. Tonight we're going to talk about creating an effective fundraising plan for your nonprofit organization. Okay, for your nonprofit organization. So, what we're going to learn is what are the elements of your development function, right? What is the function of raising money? And then we're going to talk about what are the steps and the processes to put that plan together. All right. So at the end of this, you are going to understand the importance of a diversified funding base. You're also going to be able to identify and conduct a asset inventory. What's an asset inventory? An asset inventory is for you to be able to look at your budget and to define where are your assets coming from, right? Where are the areas where you can gain more leverage in terms of relationships and money. You're going to also understand developing your mission and your case statements. We've already talked about your mission. We've even gone into some details about your case statement. And we're going to talk about the roles of the fundraising team in enacting the plan. All right. So here we go. Why do we plan? Why is it important to have a fundraising plan? You guys know that I always say that there are only 3 reasons that nonprofit organizations do not have funding or that are not fully funded. 1, we don't have a plan. We don't have a plan. We don't have a system by which our assets, our opportunities are being focused upon, right? So we don't have a plan. We're struggling with articulating impact, right? Because 98% of our donors give because of impact, and the leader doesn't know where to start, right? I don't know what I don't know. I don't know how to start the fundraising plan. I don't know how to articulate impact. And so the leader, being the lid, puts the limit on the ability to fundraise. It's not money, it's the plan, it's the strategy. And so that's what we're going to talk about. All right. So, why do we plan? If you don't have a plan, then it limits your ability to fundraise. And it also, the fundraising plan limits your crisis fundraising, right? That place where we are desperate to raise money, right? We get to that place where all the money is spent and now we're desperate. Now we're seeking. Now we're trying to figure out what it is that we need to get money right away. Now our conversation has moved from impact to crisis, okay? Why do we plan? It helps diversify your funds, which builds flexibility, right? When you have a diverse funding stream, it builds flexibility. It also helps you to plan more from a diverse perspective. Diverse in terms of who's going to help us do this work, right? So you've got now your board, you've got volunteers, and you've got other key people that can also help you create this plan, okay? It also increases board and volunteer involvement. When you have a clear plan, now your board and your volunteers understand their clear role and opportunities on how they can help you raise money, right? So for many of us going into meetings saying, I need help raising money, I need help raising money. And the board is saying, I've never raised money. I don't know what to do. So without the plan, you don't know how to instruct them on the areas of priorities, and they don't know what action to take. All right? Does that make sense? Your plan also says, where is the money? Where does the money come from? Okay, so you've got income. And where does income come from for your organization? We know what the expenses are, but we also now have income. Income comes from corporations, income comes from foundations, income comes from individuals, right? And this comprises of about 60% of your budget from those 3 areas. So if we can increase the contribution areas, then that's more money, right? So the consistency of broadening our areas of funding broadens our funding base, okay? So this is a chart that that just is an example, all right? This is just an example that if you are looking at your current budget, what percentage of your budget comes from individuals? What percentage of your budget comes from earned income, right? If you've got a product, if you've got a t-shirt that you can sell, or something that is mission, that's a part of the mission. Let's say you've got some part of the program that you can charge a fee for, right? Or you've got corporate sponsors as another stream of income. You want to be able to look at your budget and you want to say, how diverse is our revenue package or our revenue plan? If it's not diverse, then that's where we start planning. We start planning on where and what areas are the priorities for that area of increase, right? So you can look at your budget at any point and just determine, where does my money come from? Where is the money and how does it come? Okay, so these are the sources of income. Sources of income. You've got public money. All right, you've got public money. You've got foundations. You've got corporations. You've got individual donors. You've got annual events, right? And you've got earned income. And so it lists here what are the benefits of each of these areas. If we are not utilizing the various areas, then what? We're losing or missing out on the benefits. So public support. What are the benefits of public support, right? This is where you've got an opportunity for consistent funding other than foundations, right? This can be consistent funding for ongoing services, right? The public support. Foundations will support the infrastructure, all right? And they will make 2 to 4 year investments in your organization and your community cause, all right? So they're often also good for seed money, okay? What about your corporate giving? They will give money for events that typically can be used for unrestricted support. They will underwrite certain costs of a project, right? Something like computers, or something like a space, or something like something other than, or something else that is a cost that they are interested in, right? Individual donors are typically unrestricted support. And so this is where you can get that ongoing sustaining gift, right? Those monthly donors, those regular donors, these are places that's not restricted. So this will go towards helping you pay your salaries, helping to pay for those other operational costs, okay? Your annual event. These are significant and important also for unrestricted gifts, all right? And it's also an excellent opportunity to identify and cultivate new prospective donors. And this is a great volunteer opportunity, right? For people to bring and introduce others to your organization. Also, earned income. Earned income can provide a steady, ongoing revenue source that can also strengthen your fundraising position, okay? So looking at your budget and planning, if you are brand new, if you're an organization that's just starting out, or if you're an organization that has been operating for a while, if you are that brand new organization, you want to plan and know all of the sources of revenue, right? We know what our budget is. Our budget includes our expenses, but it also includes what? Our revenue sources. And so these are the revenue sources for your organization. If you are stuck financially, if you are not raising enough money to operate, I would look first at what are the sources of income that I am leveraging and that we're doing well in, or what are the areas that we need to increase? What are the areas that we need to put other and new focus on? All right. So this is a recap. Why do we diversify? It reduces the dependency on one source of income. It reduces the dependency on those single sources of income, right? It allows your organization to increase reach. It allows your organization to achieve sustainability, and it also increases opportunity for you to reach new donors, okay? Diversity means that you have as many people as you can coordinate, raising money from as many sources as you can manage. How many sources can you manage? How many sources of revenue can you manage? Have you been managing? All right. So in this document that I'm going to share, it says how many types of income does your organization have right now? This is an asset assessment. We're going to assess right now, how many sources of income do you have? Do you have also included in those sources of income those areas and opportunities for ongoing money, for sustained opportunity for money? Or are you relying on events which are episodic, only when you have them, right? Only when you plan them. The other thing is, who else and what else would you need in order to pursue a new type of income? If you wanted to pursue a new type of income, what would you need? Okay. And so I want you all to be aware of that so that you can address that. Okay. We don't know what we don't know. And if we're not planning strategically, we are missing out on opportunities. Okay. So what do you need in order to grow your funding base? Okay. Now, steps to creating your fundraising plan. The first thing is you got to have a team. You've got to have people. It could be your board. It could be volunteers. It could be other people that are connected to your organization in some way. All right. So you want to assemble a team. You want to identify what are our assets? What are the things that we're doing well? What are the areas that we're really leveraging to raise more money? And what are our strengths, right? What are we doing really, really well? And then you want to be able to assess, where else can we also raise money? So now you want to prioritize, you want to brainstorm as a team and prioritize, where are the funding opportunities that we can leverage? You now want to create those fundraising strategies. You want to evaluate those fundraising strategies, right? How do we evaluate? Based upon our goals. We want to set some goals. We want to set some financial goals. We want to put it on the calendar, right? That's the document that I've shared with you all before. Your fundraising plan, your calendar is being able to say, this is when or by when we're going to do it, right? So you write it up. Now, your fundraising team, okay? If you were to evaluate, why do you within your organization need a team? Why do you need a team? Now, if you don't have a team, then what is the plan to get a team? Because listen, not having a team is not the plan. You cannot need a team and then say, I don't have a team, and that be a period behind that. No, a period can't go there. We've got to figure out, what is it that we need the team to do? Who are the people that have the ability, that have the capacity, that have the knowledge, that have the skill set, right? That are willing and eager to help us add people to the team. How many people do you need on the team? You don't need a bunch of people. You just need the right people. Who are the right people? The right people are those that have an interest, those that have the time, those that have some type of experience, and those who are willing to lend their skill set, their relationships, their voice, right? Their creativity to the cause. Okay, you are the executive director. If you don't have anyone yet on your team who is the development director, what is a development director? A development director is a person who oversees the development of resources. All right, that's what a development director is. They oversee the development of resources. That is a designated job. All right, that is a person whose job it is to identify and cultivate development fundraising opportunities, right? The development director is the person whose job it is to oversee the development. Who on your team is that development director? You may not have hired a person as of yet, but who is the person that is responsible, that is tasked with, right, identifying those development opportunities? That means grants, that means individual donors, that means all the sources of revenue. Okay, if you don't have that person designated to that task, then where's development going to happen? Development is the money, development is the resources. And if we're only spending 10% of our time on the development areas or the resources, that's why we ain't got no money. Okay? You want to also involve your board chair. If you've got to put together a fund development committee, right, of volunteers or those people that make up your board or others who have an expertise, or hire somebody, right, or volunteers, whatever you need to do, you've got to know who is involved in that process of raising money. That's developing relationships, developing resources, developing the information and the materials that is going to consistently be reaching out for funds. All right. So who is that person on your team? What is that person's job? What are they responsible for? Right? They are to get names. They are to prospect names. They are to help with the follow-up and making phone calls and scheduling meetings and setting benchmarks, right? Setting benchmarks and managing the goals of what you all are doing, all right? They are creating the grants report. They're creating the funding report. If that is not being done, where and how are you managing your revenue? Now, we don't got no problem spending the money, but we've also got to do the work and be intentional about raising the money, okay? And if, again, you don't have a person that's their job currently, you've got to fill that job. You've got to fill it with a person, okay? There's got to be somebody who is tasked with fundraising, development, all right? That's the plan. If there is no development, if there is no fundraising plan that is consistent, then you won't have consistent revenue. All right. So what's the role of the board in the fundraising plan? They should be supplying names. They should be providing contact of prospective supporters. If they are not doing that, then they need to be cultivated and trained. All right, because then they're not helping you. And why do you want them on the organization if they're not able to do that? Now, again, many of us have hired our dog, our cat, our fish. We put those people on the board, right? Because we wanted the paperwork, but they don't have any names. They're not connected in the community. They don't have that level of reach, okay? So if you can't depend on them, then you've got to find some other people to help you. Otherwise, it's not being done. And if it's not being done, if this area is not being done, then that is why there's no money, right? These are supposed to be people that are able to help you open doors to businesses and foundations. Why would they want to do that? Why? Because they believe in the mission. They are committed to helping the organization achieve its goals. You're not trying to drag them into doing it. They should want to do it. But when they come into the organization, you should know they should offer to bring those relationships with them. If they don't have those relationships, why are they on the board? Okay. The role of them is also the board is to make sure that your organization is solvent, that you have what it needs as a part of the governance of the board is to ensure, working with you in partnership as the executive director, that the resources are coming into the organization so that the program mission can be achieved, that the organization's mission can be achieved, and that the programs are done well. All right. You've got to be able to be really clear in that assessment. Okay. Your asset assessment includes this. All right. So you've got other roles as well. You've got consultants, you've got volunteers, you've got other people who can also leverage and get community buy-in. These are people who are bringing good ideas. These are people who are connectors, right? And are willing to help the organization reach its goals. Okay. Finding your assets, right? What are your assets? What are the things that would cause people or businesses or your revenue sources to contribute? What are the things that are a part of your organization that would cause a person to pay attention, to become interested in, and then ultimately give to your organization? It's your programs, right? That's one area. It could be your staff or you as the executive director. They like you, they trust you, they know you, right? They know that you're passionate, they believe in you as a leader. And so that may be an asset. You want to find those people that your board is an asset. There are people on your board, they work for certain businesses, they work with certain companies, they have certain relationships, they have certain history in the community, right? So what are the assets of the board? What are the assets of the volunteers, right? Some people may give because they enjoy the volunteer experience. They have found and can see the importance of your work up close, okay? Some asset could be your community connections. Some asset of your organization could be your audience. And so now when we're talking about how people are introduced to your organization, you now see that there are many ways that we can now leverage relationship, leverage opportunity beyond the program, right? We can leverage opportunities of awareness building, credibility building, visibility, right? Based upon all of our assets. So now we start talking about who knows who and what do they like about our organization. So I've created here an opportunity for you all to list your organizational assets, that as you now are just starting, all right, is your board an asset? Are you trying to make them an asset and they're not? Okay. But they know people who would support because of their relationship with your board. But what you want to do is to increase that asset so that they now are inspired and motivated and giving an opportunity to support your organization beyond the relationship of your board, right? They may have started supporting you because of your board member, right? But we're looking for a relationship for ourselves. So you want to now begin to cultivate that relationship to be one for the organization and not just tied to the board member. So that when the board member leaves the board, there goes that asset, there goes that relationship, right? That they may have been introduced to your organization because of the board, but you have the opportunity to build credibility, visibility, and relationship with any of these assets, okay? Am I making sense? Am I making sense? Okay. And so these assets help you strengthen your case for support. Your case for support. All right. Now, what is a case for support? A case for support is like a compelling argument for support. Okay. It's like an elevator pitch. And it's an internal document, right? It's an internal document that helps you become clear in your conversation. Now, you're not going to meet the same type of person in the elevator, right? The same type of person who might be interested in your organization, who may know about your program, or who may not, right? But this case for support helps you and your board be able to speak about with clarity, what it is you do, why you do what you do, and why it's important, okay? And what you believe. What do you believe about your program? What do you believe about what's at stake? All right. And how do you address it? That's all you can get from floor ground to the 9th floor, right? So you want to make this elevator pitch as concise as possible. And your case statement is going to give you that script. All right. So it's going to include what's your mission? What are your goals? What are your objectives? These are things that we've talked about in the past. All right. It's going to talk about what is your history? What is it that caused you to start your organization? What is the structure of your organization? Right? What is your fundraising plan and what's your budget? Okay. These are all areas that are essential. Does your organization have a case statement and an elevator pitch? Right? Not just talking, because again, 98% of your donors give because of what they are interested in. So we're now telling them what we believe. We're telling them the areas that we address, but we also, by the time they get off that elevator, we've got to know some things about them. We've got to know, how do we follow up with them? How do we now continue the conversation with them, right? So that means we've got to listen in the elevator as well. We can't just pitch and then we get to the top floor and then they jump off the elevator and all of that work was for nothing, right? So you want to build these conversations around speaking. Now, there's a whole world of fundraising opportunities. Did you hear what I said? There's a whole world of fundraising opportunities, a world, okay? And you have opportunity to get into that world. I want you and your organization now to begin to plan and strategize, brainstorm how you're going to navigate the world of funding opportunities. Okay. And so this is a diagram of the world. Your organization is, your plan is in the center. Your organization is in the center. And what are the things that spring off of your organization? You've got your board of directors, you've got foundations, you've got events, you've got corporations, you've got government, right? You've got earned income, you've got individuals. These are your world of fundraising opportunities, right? And so out of the individuals, you've got major donors, you've got bequests, you've got membership, right? Those are your annual donors, or your monthly donors, right? Or possibly your annual donors. You've got the small donors, right? Whatever bucket of donors that fall into the individual realm, you want to now begin to say, who are these people? Who might these people be, right? And this is money that's non-designated, right? It's not restricted. These are funds that you can use anywhere, right? So now you've got earned income. So you've got ticket sales, you might have t-shirts that or go with your program, you might have journals that you also distribute as it relates to your program, you might have uniforms as a way of earned income. Whatever it is, brainstorm the earned income. All right. Then you've got government grants, you've got federal grants, you got county contracts, right? That might be a way. You've got corporate support. Who are your corporate relationships? Who are the corporations in your community that are interested in the audience or the program type that you have, right? And then you've got events. You've got annual events. You may have certain type of graduations or recognitions. You might have a donor recognition event. You might have a volunteer event, right? So you've got these events that also should be generating revenue. You've got foundations, right? You've got foundations for your core programs. You got foundation money for general operating. You've got foundations for campaigns or your building, right? You've got boards who all give, your board all contributes. So this is your world of funding. You want to assess how is our organization managing in the world of fundraising? What are you doing and how are you doing it? If you're not managing the world of funding, if you're not leveraging all of these areas of fundraising, that lies where the money is. This right here is where the money resides. You understand? This right here is where the money resides. Your plan. All right. So this is where you guys get an opportunity to exercise your funding map. All right, very much like we just covered. This is where you get an opportunity to exercise your funding map. All right, you are in the center and you begin to identify, where do we currently get income from? Right? And how can we, or what other ways can we leverage this? And what are the other areas of funding that we're not doing well in, right? And then we want to leverage that. Okay? That takes intentionality, that takes focus, that takes consistency, that takes the time. Is it worth the time? Is it worth the time? Is it worth the time? Y'all too busy doing program, right? All right. So you want to now discuss the map that you create. What are the gaps? What are the opportunities? Where are you going to prioritize? Where are you going to focus? Who's going to help and be responsible for it? What are the plans of which you're going to implement and then evaluate? Who is your target audience, right? If you're talking about corporations, who's the target corporations that you're either going to grow that relationship with or make that introduction with? All right, if it's going to be, and this is a potential now for building new relationships. So you want to make sure that you are discussing and brainstorming and then prioritizing. What are you going to do? You don't have to do it all at once. Do one thing, focus on one thing for the first 30 days, right? First 30 or 60 days. That gets up and running. You're all doing well with that. The person who is overseeing it is doing well and has what they need. And then add on the next one, right? But prioritize based upon your relationships, based upon access to the information or the people that you need to speak to, right? So you do the things that you can get greater results for first, and then you begin to add on. You don't have to do all of them at one time, but you've got to plan. All right. So in the document that you have, or that I'm going to be providing, that you've got that matrix of your funding source. Who and where are your fundings coming from? All right. Where is your funding coming from? Now, I want to stop here. And I want to say that you again, leader, are the person that had the vision for your organization. You now have invited others to come along for the ride. You've invited your board, you've invited volunteers, you've invited donors, you're inviting corporations, you're inviting grant funders to come along, right? But you want to show them that you've got a plan for sustainability, that you've got a plan and a map to be fully funded. This is your business, and this is your business plan. This is your business money management revenue generating plan. And if you don't have that plan, where's the money going to come from? I need somebody to answer that for me. For the people who say to me, Jen, I don't have any money. Jen, I don't have any money. My first question is, what's your plan? I bet you don't have a plan. And if you have a plan, then how's the plan working? What are your assets? Who are the people that you're speaking to on a regular basis? How many new people are you adding from your map, from your relationship map? How many new people are you adding? If you decided to add 3 people a month, 3 new corporations, 3 new individuals, right? If you were wanting to add 3 new local businesses per month, you can do that in a month, in 30 days, with focus, making phone calls, right? Following up on those phone calls, showing up in those meetings and being visible and vocal, right? Initiating the conversations, being a part of the conversations, right? Contributing and showing, you being the voice of the expert in your area. Listen, you cannot be the best kept secret and then want money. You cannot be the best kept secret and think that people are going to choose your organization. It takes a plan, it takes focus, it takes intentionality, it takes follow through. Right? Okay. I'm going to stop here and I'm going to make available this document. Okay. This is a document that I use in my mastermind in my one-on-one coaching, right? So this is what I take my clients through during my one-on-one coaching, and it's a very intensive where I'm working with them. In some cases, I'm doing it for them if that's what they desire. But I want you all to assess, right? You've got to be committed to the development area of your organization, not just the program area. All right. And for many of you who have seen my, you all who have seen my triangle, right? Those of you all who have seen my triangle, right? So the triangle is this, right? Program is one element of the triangle. Finance is the other area of the triangle. And then development is the last leg of the triangle. All right. So I've got program, I've got finance, and I've got development. This is your plan. Okay. And they're not in silos. Program is not over there, finance is not over there, and then development just kind of catches up wherever it can, right? No, you've got to know that my program, right, which is a greedy beast, the program is a greedy beast. It's going to take up a whole lot of money and time, right? But in addition to that, you need the finances. How do I get the finances for the program and for the operations, right? Where does the money come from? My development efforts. What am I developing? Finances. For what? The program, the operations. How and what am I using for development, right? I'm using the value of the organization. I'm using the impact of the program. I'm speaking about what it costs, right? Finance. I'm talking about what it costs to deliver this program. I'm talking about what it costs to operate, to meet our goals. And in the development conversation, this is my case conversation. This is my elevator pitch. This is my opportunity to find out who in the organized or in the community knows about our program, right? And we can talk about the budget. We have a budget. We know how much the program costs. We know what it is to operate, right? And how do I get the finance? I've got to have development efforts. That's the plan and the strategy that I am leveraging and utilizing all of the revenue sources. I am utilizing the world of revenue. Okay. And if we are not assessing, if we are not evaluating, we're not thinking about the finance, nor are we operating in the development. And the focus of program by itself is not going to fund your organization. Am I explaining this well? Am I being clear? All right. So your role as the executive director, anything that you do, any person that you speak with, any meeting that you go to, you've got to be thinking, is this a development opportunity? Is this a finance conversation? Or is this only program? If you are only having program conversations, but not talking about the budget, not talking about the money, not talking about the opportunities that you need to grow in awareness, building new relationships, right? Then we're not doing the development work. There's not going to be enough money. Okay? So you've got to be looking at every activity that you do and also the focus activity of those on your team. The more voices speaking the language, reaching people, the more people now who are speaking about the impact of your program, the importance of your work. That means we're able to reach more people more quickly. If you don't have help, why not? Who's your help? You got to get help. You got to get help. All right? You got to get help because that's where the money is. And if you can't afford it, then you got to figure it out. You got to get help. There's no way around that. You cannot do all of this by yourself. You can't. All right? So you need to make a decision. Where and how are we going to move this forward? That's your role and the role of your board. Now, you can't say it costs too much and then it costs more by you not having revenue coming in. You're leaving more on the table than it would be to hire somebody to help you. Okay? That focused work on development should generate revenue. That's a reasonable expense, right? That's a good money investment from your business perspective. But if you say I can't do that, then you got to figure out another way. There's got to be a way to generate revenue. And if it's you, then do it. You've got to make the time to do it. Okay? Are there any questions? Are there any questions at all about what I've stated? Okay? Listen, you all know that I am fanatical about your organizations being fully funded. You know that I am very much interested in the work that you do and the support that should come along with it. If you created your nonprofit to be a benefit and an asset to the community, then it shouldn't be a reach to engage, to introduce your organization to the community. The people who are in your program are not a part of the triangle. They're taking the services, they are a part of the program. So, where does your resources and finances and the development happen? From those resource sections, not your program people. You've got to be open. You've got to build relationships. You've got to be able to reach more people. The more people that know about what you do, then the more people that are interested in what you do. Those people that are interested in what you do are the people to give to what you do. But if you don't have a plot or a plan to reach more people, you are limiting your world of funding. And money is not your problem. That's the root. That's the fruit. The fruit of no money comes from I'm not leveraging or planning, strategizing, or implementing the strategies that generate revenue, right? And that's using all of those funding areas. If you don't know how to do it, that's not a plan. If you don't know what to do next, that's not a plan. What are you going to do? Quickly. All right. Now, listen, we've got a great opportunity. We've got a great opportunity from that you get to now begin to do your fundraising plan for 2022. Okay. 2022. If I were, I'd jump in and say, listen, I'm gonna try to do it from July to the end of the year. Begin it, right? You don't have to pull in all the stops at one time, but you can begin to implement, to execute, to map, to strategize some things that you can assess and evaluate over the next 90 days, right? Start in July. Start July 1. These are the things that we're going to do. It's going to be, these are the letters. These are the emails that we're going to send out. This is the newsletter that we're going to create. These are the people that we're going to meet with, right? Create that plan and strategy, target, set goals, and then go for it. All right? Not starting is not a strategy. And putting it off means that you are putting off the opportunity to leverage the world of funding. All right. The way that our business is set up with a funding strategy, right? Our business is set up with all of these revenue sources. So the organizations that are broke, busted, and disgusted are not leveraging these funding sources because the business is set up that way. The business is set up to be fully funded. The business is set up to be fully funded. All right. So you've got to look at your assets. You've got to look at your plan. You've got to look at your implementation strategy. You've got to look at your team. And are you setting those goals? And are you reaching those goals? What's a SMART goal? It's specific. it's measurable, it's achievable, right? It's realistic, and it's time-based. When is it going to be done? You've got an annual budget. So then you're looking at every single month. Every single month, you should be able to evaluate how much money are we bringing in from all of the areas of funding. I can't reach my end of the annual without going through the months, right? So monthly, how much money do I need to bring in? What are the efforts of that development work am I doing now? Okay. Am I doing now? What relationships am I building? What interactions am I initiating or following up on? Okay. That's the development work. Okay. And someone on your team, it should be you, part of it. Okay, because you are the face of the organization, you are the decision maker of the organization, you should be a part of that process, right? You should be the number one fundraiser, right? You're the visionary. But if you're going to put it in somebody else's hands, then put it in somebody else's hands. Because if you're not going to do it, or you don't feel comfortable doing it, then it needs to be somebody's responsibility. Because if it's not going to be a person's responsibility, where's the money going to come from? It's not going to fall from the sky. It's not going to fall from the sky. All right. 3 reasons that organizations don't have money. 1, I don't have a plan. 2, I'm not articulating to the world of funding that I have what's important to them. Why is being an investor in our organization relevant and important? I've got to make that language clear. Not making that language clear is going to hurt you. Okay. And then 3, as the leader, I've got to put someone, if it's not me, if I don't have the capacity, I don't have the interest, I don't have whatever. And if it's not your board, then who is it that is going to do the development work? If those things are not in place, if any one of those things is out of place, that impacts money. Okay? Any questions and any thoughts? Listen, you guys know how to reach me and you know where I am. I just want to say that this is your season. This is your opportunity to not only be hearers of the word, but now we can be doers as well. All right? Doers as well. All right, guys. I am going to let you all go. And I'm going to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for listening to my tirade as I go through this process. Okay. For those of you who want to reach out to me, my information is on the link.